Welcome everybody to the seasonal diet, eating what our ancestors ate when they ate it, like we were evolved to do. So, while most mushrooms are available year-round, many are at their peak in the fall and early winter. Now, of course, there are many different types of mushrooms that grow all around the world in different times, different places. There are more than 10,000 species of mushrooms, and scientists actually think that that's just a fraction of everything that is actually out there. I'm not here to give you a long lecture on the different types of mushrooms. I'm just talking about how special and unique mushrooms are and how they are so incredibly different from other edible things and how they would have been valued in our ancestors' diets. The only thing that mushrooms have in common with most other edible things are its growing season. The springtime mushroom season begins sometime in late April to early May, depending on the snow melt and the temperature. And the early spring, summer mushrooms usually last until July. Then they go away for a little while, actually, in most places because it becomes too hot and sunny. Then they come back in October, and October is the season for wild mushroom hunting, really. So we are right in that peak season right now. Many species of mushrooms flourish in the autumn with the return of the cooler and wetter weather. And guys, this is one of the things that is so fascinating about mushrooms. Pretty much everything else that grows in nature that is edible needs the sun, okay? The sacred sun brings life to all things, except mushrooms. You can find mushrooms growing in the deepest forest and even in caves far away from anywhere the sun can ever reach. The sun brings life to all edible things except mushrooms. Mushroom is the life itself. It builds the life by itself with basically nothing else besides the dark and dampness. Also, all other edible things come from a seed, whether it's the seed of a plant or if it's an animal. It started with a seed, the sperm, that gives birth to the livestock that we eat. Mushrooms need no seed. Mushrooms grow into life just completely by themselves, so you can see how and why ancient humans viewed these weird little fungus plants growing everywhere as so sacred. You know, some of these mushrooms are just food, like the typical mushrooms that you will all find in your grocery store. And we know them today. We know that they are super nutritious. They are, especially if you're a vegetarian or vegan, mushrooms are important to eat because unlike most other vegetables, mushrooms contain two of the very important B vitamins, niacin and riboflavin, and they also have many other health benefits that you would find in meat or animal products. So if you're a vegan or vegetarian, I want you eating as much mushrooms as you can. And that's just the mushrooms that we know of, that we've done studies on, the edible ones in people's diets in the modern day that are easily accessible. But you all know the other mushrooms that I'm talking about. There are other reasons that people eat mushrooms. The magic mushrooms. And guys, we have not even started to begin to understand the effects that these magic mushrooms bring with all these different compounds, psilocybin just being one of them. Some bring benefits, some can be very deadly, and some can bring the most epic, beautiful spiritual experiences. It's no wonder why ancient humans viewed these things as so special. All over the world there are traditions of eating mushrooms in regular food for just basic cooking and diet, and also for spiritual and ritual purposes in different ways. I'm not condoning this at all. Like I said, mushrooms can be deadly if you eat the wrong ones, and even if you eat the right ones, you can lose your mind and go insane. I have known people who that has happened to as well, so I don't support any of the mushrooms out in the open here unless you are guided by an expert, because I know they are becoming legal in some countries. But this is exactly what our ancestors did. Either way, they would have had these spiritual leaders to guide them through this process of eating these psychedelic mushrooms, because they were living way closer to nature and they had way more time in their lives and their day actually to experiment with these things for thousands and thousands of years. Of course, they would have done these things in many places in the world, so yes, many kinds of mushrooms are in our ancestral diets, no matter where you come from in the world. And like I said, peak season is usually in the fall, so I will be covering many more of the edible mushrooms in the next month or two in future videos.